All right, I just picked up this box of 1986 Topps baseball. Start of spring training happened today, and my buddy Mark, he's kind of said, "Hey, do you want this box?" And I said, "Sure, I'll help him out." And it's like a 40-year-old box, and we'll pick it up. And there's packs, and then there's gummy gum in there, so that's gonna be the interesting thing to see what the gum looks like. And you can win a trip to the 1987 spring training, Spring Fever Baseball entry form inside. No purchases necessary. See the back. I mean, that maybe have to go get a DeLorean and get Doc Brown and a lot of times you do these videos, and then then you have like the back of the box. So I have like a kind of what's Reggie Jackson, Don Mattingly, Willie McGee, Obadiah McDowell. So they have like kind of some cards there. If you want to cut it out, you can. So 40 years. So we'll see what happens. And then some of the cards here. I mean, I know Cecil Fielder. And there's the gum. Okay, that came off pretty good. Not bad. It's got a little bit of damage there. It's got a. Let's see here. Bruce Keeson played for the Pirates. Al Jones, Pete Vukovich, Cecil Fielder. There's a rookie card in here. Turn Back the Clock, Roger Maris, 1961. And let's see. Most of the first cards are like Pete Rose. There it is, a Spring Fever. And you just gotta write your name and send it away. He might be a winner. Mark Gubicza, he's like a telecaster. Gene Mauch, Alejandro Sanchez, Dane Org. Let's see, let's see who else was in here. So I try to look it up on this one so there's the gum. All broken up. Not bad, not bad. Maybe a little bit on that card there. You can see there. Carlton Fisk All-Star. Dennis Rasmussen. Gary Carter, All-Star, the checklist. Vince Coleman, record breaker. Rick Sutcliffe. Bob McClure, Steve Sachs. So, you're going to have like all Hall of Famers in here. Jim Wilford got the gum, but not bad. Came off pretty quick. I'll put those gum cards there. Oh, there's Garth Orge again. Washington. Dan Quisenberry with his delivery. Submariner or whatever. Buck Martinez, he just retired as a Blue Jay telecaster. Or he's, stepping down. Fernando Valenzuela. Willie McGee, Tito Landrum, Bruce Barney, I don't know, Rupert Jones, Gene Nelson, the record breaker, Valenzuela. So unfortunately, Topps only just, they did this, and then they did. Yeah, that was not much bad. They did like a Topps traded, and you just had to buy the set, and so they're not really considered true rookie cards. Bill Russell, longtime shortstop. Ryan Sandberg, that's a good one. There's Lee Smith there, Cubs leader. Craig McMurtry, Vernon Roll, George Foster there. There's a Met. And then here's kind of like the back of those cards, what they look like. George Foster, he was like a part of the Big Red Machine. It was Ron Oster. So yeah, the gum's pretty good. So Mark, you did a good job of with the box. There's Fred Lynn as Oriole. Buddy Meacham, Doug DeSense's, Dan Quisenberry All-Star, Ron Guidry All-Star, Brett Saberhagen, he had a really good career. Del Murphy, probably should be in the Hall of Fame. Harold Reynolds, I believe that's one of the rookie cards that we're looking for. Frank Robinson. Yeah, if they would have, Topps would have, by this time, there's not only Topps, but there's also Donruss and there's also Flair. But they would make updates that, things for those. But Topps would just do like a traded set. So you would probably have like Barry Bonds would have been, if they would have done like a Series 2. There's Kirby Puckett. He was like 85. I think 85 is his. There you go, Mark. Rance Smolniks. Don Carmen, Gary Pettis. Now he had like his younger brother, I think, for his rookie card. Take the picture. There's Dave Lopes as a Cub. You usually think of him as like a Dodger. He played with the A's, looks like. And Alvin Davis, Steve Yeager. 85 record breaker there is like Dwight Dot Gooden. R.J. Reynolds, Steve Carlton, Bruce Hurst. There you go, Dwight Gooden, All-Star. Razor Shines. That's got to be an all-time name. So let's try and maybe speed this up a bit. Andre Dawson, that's a good one. Hall of Famer. Mitch Hebner, Shane Raleigh, Steve Balboni. There's a Willie Mays Turn Back the Clock. Don Manley All-Star. Hal McRae, Rusty Staub, he played a long time. Kent Tolcolby as a Philly. Think of him as more of as a Pittsburgh Pirate. He was another one of those submariners. Had a lot of saves. So it's pretty good. You know, the gum. Sometimes they just stick to it, and you're just not going to damage the card. Paper loss. Ron Robinson. Ricky Henderson, there's a New York Yankee there. Start with the A's. And Brewers, that's going to be Robin Yount, I believe. Oh, no, that's Charlie Moore. So they kind of say, like, you know, on the front who it is. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz. He actually started off as a San Diego Padre, and he got traded to the Cardinals for a Gary Templeton. Straight up. So I imagine Padres, they wouldn't mind having that one back again. Von Hayes. Can you imagine like Ozzie Smith and Tony Gwynn? There's Rich Gossage, Goose Gossage. Dick Ruthven, Leo Franco, Chuck Tanner, Pirates manager, Scott McGregor. They had really good A's, Orioles, left-hander. So that's probably Dale Murphy. Yep, Dale Murphy there. Johnny Grubb. So let's see, I picked up a box of Stadium Club, and I'll open that up if I can find another box. I just kind of went to the Target, and I'll do a video, I'll tell you about that, Mike Hargrove, and tell me if I did something wrong. But Greg Harris. Usually I like to get like 2 Glenn Brummer, and there's a Dwight Evans, Cliff Johnson, anybody else? Bill Buckner with the Red Sox. Oh boy, watch out between the wickets. Cleveland Indians. Who would be that be? Andre Thornton. Yeah, so he played a long time for them. And then, so they've already said Heritage is coming out. There's Victor Kobe. So there's a lot of packs in here. Terry Forster, a long time reliever. Clint Hurdle, Darren Dalton, Mike Moore, Wade Boggs. That's a pretty good. Yeah, that's Bobby Grich. And how about Pete Rose? Yeah, the manager card. So, you know, he's probably should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, just what he did off the field, you know. Yeah, that's here. So that, like I say, just took it off right there. Yep. Yeah, that's here. Reggie Jackson. So that's in a good pile. Bob Gibson. Not the Bob Gibson. Lee Mazzilli. There he goes. There's Gary Templeton. Keith Hernandez, All-Star. Al Pardo. Darrell Evans. There he played with Braves, Giants. There's a checklist. Turn back the clock, 1981. So that's 5 years. see here. Who got it? John Stupper gets the gum. But you know, not bad, you know. I bought a box earlier, a couple of years earlier, before I even did all these. Ray Miller as a manager, Dan Ford, he played Twins, Angels, Orioles. Lance Parrish, he was a great player, pretty good player. Bruce Bochy, I don't think that's the same one that's the manager. Enos Kibble, Steve Trout, Don Robinson, George Bell, Mike Lacoste, Joel Youngblood. Dave Stapleton. There's that. Joe Carter. I don't know if that would be his rookie card or not. Probably not. Zane Smith, Carney Lansford. Let's see here. Al Oliver, a long time Pittsburgh Pirate, Texas Ranger. Bob Welch, he played for the A's, eventually Dodgers. And yeah, Bob Welch and then Reggie Jackson. That was a famous duel between the two. In that World Series. Where, okay, Chris Chambliss there with the Braves. That's after he played with the Yankees. Yeah, I know he started off with the Indians. Denny Martinez there. People call him the El Presidente. Greg Nettles. I was sometimes call him Craig. Steve Kemp. Dwight Evans, longtime right fielder for the Red Sox. He had a cannon. That's Dwayne Murphy there for the A's. Billy Randolph there. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you know, that's my opinion. Oh, and this is probably the John Franco there. That's probably one of the best ones right now that got the gum. Like Pagliarulo. Yeah, I don't know if I'll pronounce it. Gary Gaetti, Hal, George Hendrick. He's like got his helmet and then his cap on. Had like big old Al Afro playing for the Yankees and other teams. And Errol Weaver. Lots of times you could hear him maybe smoking a cigarette or in the dugout or behind the dugout late at games. Oh, Tim Wallach there. Okay, Phil Niekro. Later years. Chet Lemon. John Tudor. Jeff Burrows. Played like with the Rangers. His son Sean Burrows played a while back. And there's Mr. Dennis Eckersley there. Cubs, Indians, Indians, Cubs, Red Sox, and then would go on the A's. For a while there, he was the starter. He actually threw like a no-hitter. I think he was a rookie with the Indians. He brought it with the Indians. Jerry Narron. So I know this is going to be a little bit Keith Moreland there with the Cubs. Brett Butler there with the and the Indians. Giants, and then he would play with Giants, and then Dodgers. So Ron Sather as a Cub, he was called the Penguin, for those that remember, mostly with the Dodgers. Tim Wallach, their all-star. Okay, Greg Walker gets the gum. And Dave Collins, he played with the Angels, Reds. He was pretty quick. Charlie Lee. Mickey Tettleton. Phil Schroeder. Tommy John with the A's. He played like Dodgers. Started off with, I think, the Indians, maybe the White Sox. And then Dodgers, Yankees, Angels. Mr. Tommy John, the guy that you don't want to hear, Al Bunbury, that, you're a pitcher. You're going to have Tommy John surgery. They take like, I think, you pretty much, beforehand, I mean, your career was pretty much over. If you had that, problem, but then they would take like maybe something out of your leg. I think that's how they do it. Ron Guidry there. Louis Lightning. Jose Cruz. Jose, can you say the Cruz? Dennis Boyd, that'd be Oil Can Boyd. And here's a Pete Rose. So that'd be 83, 84, 85. And the first few cards in the set is all his cards. Oh, Alan Trammell. Hall of Famer gets the gum. There you go. Claudell Washington, he played for a lot of teams. Alfredo Griffin, Glenn Davis, Del Barra, that'd be Yogi Berra's son. Dave Rucker, Tom Henneke. There's another Keith Hernandez All-Star. So we're getting there. Figure where to dump all these packs. Ernie Witt. Juan Beniquez, Dave Winfield, Robin Yount. There's an Hall of Famer. That was the other thing. Okay, Al Pardo, that should be like the game show host. And there's another one of those Turn Back the Clock. Fernando. So, you do get duplicates. Charlie Moore, it's the gum. that. And then there's another Pete Rose. So 79, 80, 81, 82. So yeah, they actually got the years there. So those are the designs. And then Dykstra, I think he's a rookie card in this one, I believe. That's maybe one of the other ones. Bo Diaz, that's a pretty good picture. Dave Steve, 85 record breaker. There's Keith Hernandez, most game-winning RBA for the season. Joe McNamara, manager. Tony Fernandez, Greg Minnan. So, you know, like football in 1986, that's going to cost you a pretty penny, like maybe $1,000 for a box, because it's got Jerry Rice as a rookie. So most football, he got like 81 with Joe Montana, rookie. 84 would be Dan Marino and John. Oh, I'll think about it. Tom Lewis, Florida. Let's see here. But for the most part, baseball, you can buy a box, you know, maybe 83. But 1980, that'd be the biggest one because that's Ricky Henderson. But 82, baseball, you'd have like Cal Ripken Jr. But they'd also do like the stars. There'd be like 3 players. So you wouldn't get your own card until later, your own individual card. Who'd be booked, Bricks there, Mike Boddicker. Dave Steve, that's, yeah. There's another, yeah, there's getting duplicates. John Elway. Yeah. So 1984 Topps football, you have John Elway, Dan Marino. I think Eric Dickerson's in there too. So that's going to cost you, 1986 is going to cost you with Jerry Rice. But other years, you're probably doing okay. But, you know, like I say, baseball, you can get these pretty cheap for the most part. You know, Willie McGee, Don Sutton there. Kind of maybe got some, you know, you could have like, you know, gum damage, and you can also have wax damage from the wax paper. Rafael Ramirez, Paul Molitor, that's another good one. Tony Armas, he had a pretty good cannon. The record breaker there, New York Yankees. Oldest pitcher to hurl shutout. Well, I don't think that will ever, you know, be broken. Because he was like a knuckleballer, even, you know, probably pitched till he was like 50 or something. Wally Backman gets a gum. Okay. Bob Brenly. Yeah. He'll probably make it as like a manager. Leon Durham. Greg Gross. Gary Carter. Eddie Murray there. Bruce Sutter. Jim Rice there. Yeah. So Jesse Orosco and then Pirates leader. That's going to be pitcher Rick Rhoden. He played for a lot of teams too. And Pete O'Brien gets the gum. Mike Socha there. Mike Scott. Randy Reddy. That's going to be one of all-time names. Buddy Bianco. Yeah. Dave Smith. Brett Saban, All-Star. Steve Henderson, not related. Tony La Russa as a White Sox manager. So he managed with White Sox, A's, Cardinals. Let's see here. Dick Williams, another manager that's a long time. Dad Concepcion. Ted Power, Pedro Guerrero. So some of these are, like this one's cut really bad. Let's see how bad that's cut. And Ozzie Smith got the gum. Let's see here. Ray Knight. He was on that, I think, scored on that Bill Buckner miscue. And it's Tony Perez, oldest player to hit Grand Slam. Frank Tanana. Bert Blyleven. Okay, so we're kind of getting about 5 packs to go. Terry Pendleton. There's Andrew Dawson. Tom Niedenfuer. Mike Schmidt, the Hall of Famer. Giants leaders. I don't know. Greg Minton. Okay, so we're almost there. That's but like Schmidt there. Rolly Fingers gets the gum. Tony Gwynn. No. George Brett. And there's like Pete Rose, Bill Mallock with the Dodgers. You think of like Cubs and Pirates. Sparky Anderson is Tigers, so it's like Pete Rose starts off 1963, 64, 65, 66. That'd be his rookie. So that's how a lot of times they did it back in the 60s, 70s, and then they kind of quit doing it for a bit. Or they do the National League. Sometimes they would do the team. And Danny Darwin gets the gum. All right, so we're down to 3 packs. Jack Morris there, Craig Rolls. Mark Langston, there's Pete Rose, most hits lifetime. Ron Darling, he's I think he's on the baseball MLB. All right, 2 packs though, so we're almost done. Jimmy King, he gets the gum, but falls right off. And Dusty Baker, there's an A. So he was like Braves, Dodgers, A's. Giants, he was on the Giants too. It looks like before he was the manager. Del Murphy there, should be in the Hall of Fame. Gorman Thomas. Rod Carew, there's a Hall of Famer. Cal Ripken, All-Star. Dave Winfield, All-Star. Pedro Guerrero. This is now another Pete Rose. So 1967, 68, 69, 70 would be the year. So last pack. So, we've probably got, I'd have to look again to see who the rookies are, but like I say, it's not that big of a thing. But we got definitely a lot of Howard Johnson there. Jim Morrison, not from the Doors, not Light My Fire. Tom Seaver, there's a White Sox. You think of like Mets, Reds. George Brett, All-Star. And is that going to be it? Terry Francona. How different does he look? Wow. So, anyhow, that's, Tony Gwynn, Mike Schmidt, Brian Sandberg, Andre Dawson, Pete Rose, and just a whole bunch of, good Hall of Famers, some gum cards, Wally Fingers, Ozzie Smith had the gum. Trying to think of anybody else with significance that had the gum. Alan Trammell had the gum. So anyhow, that's 1986 Topps baseball. You can probably get it for about 100, maybe 150. Anyhow, enjoy spring training games and enjoy the weekend.